quota for Muslims, which was then later struck down by no less than the Supreme Court. The court in its order was very clear that this would be violative of both the right to equality and the right not to be discriminated on the basis of religion, caste or creed. But now in Maharashtra, in the middle of the campaign, the Chief Minister of Telangana, Revanth Reddy, has said that they will debate in the Maharashtra Assembly, if the Maha Vikas Aghadi wins, whether or not to give a minority quota in Maharashtra, just like they're doing in Telangana. The BJP says this is the real reason why Rahul Gandhi has been talking about scrapping the 50% cap on quotas, that ultimately the Congress party wants to take away quotas from OBCs and give it to minorities. Leave aside the politics of it, the fundamental question is this: if the framers of India's constitution, the founding fathers of this great republic, did not envisage religion-based reservation, and it has been struck down in the instance of multiple states which have brought forth such legislation, gone all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has struck it down, then why should we believe that this will pass legal muster? But first, the story so far.
आंध्र प्रदेश एंड तेलंगाना कंबाइंड स्टेट में 4% हम लागू किए। तो जिसको जिसको गरीबी है, जिसको जिसको ज़रूरत है, उन लोगों को न्याय करना कांग्रेस के जिम्मेदार है।
Rahul Gandhi and the MVA should clarify whether they have also accepted the other 16 preposterous demands of the All India Ulama Board. Is the All India Ulama Board defining the manifesto and agenda of the MVA? That is the question on everybody's minds.
मैं आज दूरे से कहकर जाता हूं, कान खोल कर सुन लो, आपकी चौथी पीढ़ी आएगी तो भी मुस्लिम आरक्षण नहीं।
Now, this entire thing has become political in the campaign trail. Remember, one of the big slogans was initially given by UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. He said, "Batenge to katenge," which became some kind of a call to the Hindus to unite so that their vote is not divided, as was seen in the Lok Sabha, in Uttar Pradesh, or even in Maharashtra for that matter. The Prime Minister also gave a clarion call saying, "Ek rahenge to safe rahenge," which also became popular on the campaign trail. Today, Rahul Gandhi, on the last day of the campaign in Maharashtra, was asked about this, "Ek rahenge to safe rahenge," and he had a sort of mocking response to it. Let's play out what Rahul Gandhi said in his final press conference on the last day of the campaigning in Maharashtra, and then we'll open this up to our panelists.
एक है तो सेफ है, ये नरेंद्र मोदी जी की महाराष्ट्र सरकार की स्ट्रेटजी है। हम आपको ये दिखाना चाह रहे हैं। मुश्किल खुलता है माया, ये पकड़िए, ये देखिए, एक है तो सेफ है, देख लीजिए। और ये स्ट्रेटजी का लक्ष्य देखिए, एक है तो सेफ है। धारावी का मैप है, ये भी दिखा दीजिए, दूसरा पोस्टर। ये 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए का धंधा चल रहा है। ये आप देखिए, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी और अदानी जी एक साथ खड़े हैं, एक है तो सेफ है।
So the clarion call given by the Prime Minister of Ek Hai to Safe Hai has now been given its own political twist by Rahul Gandhi, saying with a picture of Mr. Gautam Adani and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So the campaign has finally ended. The question is, which of these two narratives will find greater resonance in Maharashtra? And more importantly, this whole business of 4% quota or 5% quota for Muslims, which has been struck down by no less than the Supreme Court in multiple instances in the past, why should we believe that that same thing will pass legal muster if implemented in Maharashtra? Let me bring in our guests who are joining us. Ajay Alok is national spokesperson of the BJP. Anish Gawande is national spokesperson of the NCP Sharad Pawar faction. Susi Ben Shah, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena Shinde faction. Javed Ansari, senior journalist, also joining us. Anish Gawande, be clear to the viewers tonight. Be clear to the voters of Maharashtra tonight, because Revanth Reddy, Congress Chief Minister of Telangana, says just like we implemented 4% reservation for Muslims in Telangana, the MVA, if it's elected to power, will debate in the assembly whether to extend reservation for Muslims. Is the Maha Vikas Aghadi for or against reservation for Muslims? The All India Ulema Council has written a letter saying that they are backing the MVA, and in response they expect 10% reservation for Muslims.
No, let's discard that letter, because I think multiple people, including my own party's state president, Jen Patilji, has confirmed that the response by the MBA to that letter was fabricated, and those 17 demands, some of which are outrageous, are not acceptable. But let me come to the other point, right? We've just finished a very long election season and a long election campaign. And the reality is that communities across Maharashtra and across the country are asking for reservation. In Maharashtra, the NCP-SP has consistently upheld that the demands of Muslims, Lingayats, Marathas, NT-DNTs and Dhangars should be considered. And Supriya Tai has actually demanded that there should actually be a national commission set up to look into the demands of all communities across the country that are demanding reservations. Remember that Maharashtra has a different history with respect to Muslim reservation. There's been a separate report on social and economic backwardness, which has been submitted, which has been the forefront and the backbone of reservations for Muslims. And let's also remember that BJP allies like Chandrababu Naidu have introduced Muslim reservations in their own states and supported it wholeheartedly. So I think beyond the hype, beyond the sort of charged rhetoric that unfortunately you've seen this election campaign, which I hope will die down, there is a reality that there are communities that are clamoring for reservations, and political parties
Mr.
Gawande,
let's be very clear about it tonight. The framers of the constitution of this country were very clear in their thought process that in India you cannot have religion-based reservations. You cannot have religion-based quota system. If you look at the orders of the Supreme Court, one second, may I finish? In 2004, the then United Andhra Pradesh introduced 4% quota for Muslims. The matter went all the way up to the Supreme Court. In 2006, the Supreme Court struck it down, saying it was constitutionally prohibitive. It was against the Articles 15.1, which is equality before law, and 16.2, which is no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, religion, etc. You cannot have it. It's as simple as that. I mean, the law is very clear.
It's unconstitutional.
But Zaka, just if I could respond in just a second, right? I think this is the same problem even with Maratha reservation today, which in the past has been introduced and struck down for crossing the 50% limit. For any sort of reservation, unfortunately, the reality remains that we're going to have to relook reservation as a whole right now to see how we can increase the cap, because communities are demanding this. So as a political party, I have to acknowledge that these are legitimate demands and have to be addressed.
Susi Ben Shah, when the Supreme Court struck it down, this was United Andhra Pradesh's reservation quota, which was already at 46%. It struck it down under Article 15.1 and 16.2, saying it breached the 50% limit with the addition of a 5% quota for Muslims. It questioned the lack of a compelling reason for this breach, and the 50% cap was put by a 9-judge bench of the Supreme Court in the Indira Sahni judgment.
Zaka, thank you for having me on your show, and good evening to all your viewers and my panelists. Anish, the statement that you made about relooking the reservation is going to cost you a bunch of votes. Maybe it'll strip you of your spokesperson. There is no question of any party touching the reservation, because we need it. As of today, we need the reservation. That is the stand of the Mahayuti from the very beginning. It is you guys who are confused. As far as the constitution is concerned, it is unconstitutional to have any reservation in religious form. Number one. Number two, let it be heard loud and clear that Maharashtra, under no circumstances, will give any reservation to the Muslim community or any other religious community. Number two, whether at all the Muslims are a minority, they are 18 to 20% of the population. Do they now are minorities is a big question mark. So therefore, let us understand that this ulemas and issuing fatwas and vote jihad. The
No, but
concept of
Susiben
vote
Shah,
jihad.
how do you then explain that in states where BJP is ruling either on its own or in alliance, in Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar, there are quotas for Muslims within the overall OBC quota? That there is a section that is reserved for Pasmanda Muslims, for example, in Bihar, have reservation. How do you explain that?
Yeah, you must understand that there are OBC in the Muslims. They are part of the OBC quota. They are not given because of the Muslim, because they are in the OBC quota, as you rightly said, include Ansaris. They also have a reservation as OBCs. So therefore, as long as they are an OBC, categorized under the constitution as an OBC caste, you will
Okay.
be given. But as a Muslim, as a religious community, it is impossible. Mr. Next time that you come, Anish, take a lowdown on the
So
reservation from your...
let me ask Ajay Alok of the BJP. So the
Impossible.
Telangana Chief Minister said that they will look at, just like in Telangana, they will look at in Maharashtra, if the MVA comes to power, debate in the assembly whether to give reservation 4% for Muslims. The All India Ulema Council, you heard Anish Gawande on the program saying it was a completely fictitious letter. No such demands are being met and no such promises are being made to the All India Ulema Council.
That is not
The All India Muslim Personal Law Board has backed the India bloc and called for the boycott of BJP backers. Again, the India bloc is saying we've never asked for their support. So please respond, Ajay Alok. They are saying that you are making it Hindu-Muslim, you are making it polarized, not the Maha Vikas Aghadi.
Zaka, no one is...
Let Ajay Alok respond, please. Thank you.
Ulema Council Board or All India Muslim Personal Law Board issuing fatwas and saying that hukka pani band kar doge BJP ka jo vote dega, and plus to vote for MBA, Maha Vikas Aghadi. These are all the known gimmicks, and now they are just distancing themselves because they fear that a counter reaction is going to happen, which is already happening, which is already there, and they will see it on 23rd. As far as 4% Muslim reservation, let me tell you, and in places in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, where Muslims are getting reservation because of OBC, yes, it's a standard process that Pasmanda Muslim under various category of OBC do get a reservation. But what they have done, the flip side is, in Karnataka, what they have done, they have included all the Muslims in OBC. That is, Sheikh, Sayyid, Pathan, everyone is included in OBC, for which the National Commission of OBC has raised objection, severe objection. And this is what they plan to do in Telangana, what Revanth Reddy was saying. This is what they plan to do when they come to Maharashtra. This is complete Muslim appeasement all throughout, where they consider Muslim not on the basis of their caste, but they consider Muslim just as a one united party. They do not divide the Muslims. So what they have done in Karnataka, all Muslims are OBC, and at the cost of Hindu OBC and other caste OBC, they are giving the reservations to Muslims. This is what we call divisive and appeasement politics. And this is what they are going to practice. And they are very thumping their chest that yes, we are going to practice if we come to power. This is the real face.
So Javed Ansari, the fact of the matter is, again, you go back to the legal precedents in this case. In 2006, the Andhra Pradesh High Court had struck down this whole proposal of including 5% quota for Muslims by saying that you cannot conclude that Muslims in an entirety or as a group were entirely backward in Andhra Pradesh. The court had said it violates Articles 15.1 and 16.2 and simply said that this whole defective criteria of having all Muslims, the entire Muslim community as backward, is unscientific and based on defective criteria which undermines the principle of equality enshrined in the Constitution. This is what the Andhra Pradesh High Court said, striking down this quota back in 2006.
Yeah, and this has been a problem which has been lingering for a very long time. The Supreme Court has already made its position clear. Reservations on religious basis are not allowed. So if they are not allowed, they are not allowed. There is no point in trying to regurgitate this issue. I take the point that the Maha Vikas Aghadi is not the only political formation which has come out in favor. It's the constituents of the NDA, the two crutches on which this edifice survives, Mr. Nitish Kumar and Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, more so Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, have vociferously lent their shoulder to this demand that there should be reservation for Muslims. If the Constitution does not allow, just forget about it. And it's a double-edged sword. It hurts both ways. One, something that is not possible should not be promised because it raises unrealistic demands, and if those demands cannot be met, it leads to huge amount of disappointment, and there are other fallouts. Two, the majority community, it raises the hackles of the majority community of Adivasis, of Dalits, of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, that it is from within their quota, the Muslim quota will be carved out, and therefore it will eat into their share. So it's one thing to say that we will sit together and debate this. By all means debate it, and it's only when in the Supreme Court, if you can get the Supreme Court to amend its judgment, should you then talk about religious-based quotas. Until then, for God's sake,
I refuse to believe, Javed, that the politicians don't know this. The politicians know this, whether they are from the Aghadi or whether they are from the Mahayuti. They know that it will not pass legal muster if quotas are given basis religion. Then why do they go about saying this? Why are letters being written to Aghadi saying, Ulema Council is backing them, Muslim Personal Law Board is backing them, because in lieu of that, you will get reservation for Muslims? They know it will not pass Supreme Court muster.
This is political season. You don't have to be an Einstein to find out. They're doing it because they hope it will get them some votes. They're talking of it in the same way as the NDA spoke of 15 lakhs in everybody's account. After later, none less than Mr. Amit Shah said it was a Chunavi Jumla. This is a Chunavi Jumla.
Okay, so if it's a Chunavi Jumla, then what is the political rationale? I'll try and explain that on the magic wall. Now, that's something that we saw in the Lok Sabha elections. Remember, in the 48 seats in Maharashtra, the MVA was ahead. It was ahead in 30. The Mahayuti had 18. So clearly, if you were to go by Lok Sabha, who gets the victors' roles as far as the Lok Sabha is concerned, clearly the Aghadi had a decisive edge over the Mahayuti. The reason that happened was because of the combination of what we call the triple M factor. There's Maratha, Muslims and Mahars, who are a significant chunk of Dalits in Maharashtra. Let's look at the seats where these communities are dominant. Of course, the Maratha community is extremely dominant. About 30%, almost 30% of the population of the state is Maratha, primarily in western Maharashtra, in places like Satara, Sangli, Solapur, Kolhapur, and then, of course, large parts of Marathwada, including, of course, in Jalna, where this whole agitation has been going on by Manoj Jarangi Patil for a number of years now. So there are about, if you were to refresh, there are about 90-odd seats where the Marathas are dominant. Marathas are dominant in almost, I would want to say, about a third of the seats. In that, if you look at the various region-wise breakup of where this actually... So 89 seats out of 288, the Marathas are dominant. They are more than 30% of the population. The BJP and United Shiv Sena in 2019 won 45 of those seats. A large number of those seats happen to be in Marathwada, some in western Maharashtra, some in northern Maharashtra as well. The NCP and Congress, the United NCP and Congress in 2019 won 38. So it's 45 and 38. It's not that much of a difference that we can see, at least as far as the 2019 tally is concerned, in the Maratha dominant seats, which is about 90 seats, 89 out of the 288. Now, if you were to look at the second M, which is the Muslim factor, and we've looked at seats where the Muslim population is more than 20%, more than 1 out of 5 voters are Muslims. That's close to, again, 40 seats, 38 seats. Again, because of polarization, the difference in vote share was only about 1%, 1.5% between the United Shiv Sena, BJP combined in 2019 and the Congress and NCP. It was only 1.6%, the vote share difference. The seat difference, 20 seats to the BJP alliance and 17 seats to the Congress-NCP alliance. So again, very closely contested. So you have 90 Maratha dominant and you have another 40 or so which are Muslim dominant. So that takes you to about 130 seats. That's a substantial chunk of seats. If you were to talk about an assembly of 288, it's almost half the number of seats. And then you have the Dalit seats, which are the reserved constituencies. Again, almost 30 seats, 29 out of 288. That is 10% of the strength of the assembly. The BJP and the Congress alliance back in 2019, it was again neck and neck. Even though the vote share difference was almost 4%, almost 5% between Congress alliance and the BJP alliance, but the seat difference was only 1. 14 to the BJP and United Sena and 13 to the Congress and the NCP. So you see, the point I'm trying to make is this combination of triple M, Muslim, Maratha, Mahar, it leads up to 160 seats. Whoever wins a major chunk of these 160 seats basically then wins the mandate of the people, wins the mandate to rule in Maharashtra for the next 5 years. So let me go back to our guest, Mr. Anish Gawande. Isn't that the real reason? The Mahayuti is making this an issue because they want to break that triple M factor. You are making this an issue because you've seen this. You've tasted blood in the 2019 Lok Sabha. You've seen, again, the allegation from the other side is on the basis of complete fake news that you will take away a reservation. That's why Mr. Modi needed 400. You spread that fake news. You saw the effect of that, the coming together of the triple M, and you won 30 out of 48.
No. Firstly, Zaka, that was not fake news because BJP members of parliament were saying this on the floor of the house and outside it that they want to change.
No, I'm referring to this Amit Shah video, which turned out to be a fake.
Fair enough. But the changing of the constitution was based on more parameters than that, right? I'll tell you the other thing. Of course, there is a caste factor at play over here because these are all citizens of this country. I mentioned 5 communities to you when we started off. Let's remember that the Dhangar community has been asking for reservation in Maharashtra, and the Mahayuti's own alliance partners, including Narhari Zirwal, have jumped from the Mantralaya's safety nets into the Mantralaya's safety nets to demand this reservation. The BJP itself has promised reservations to Lingayats. All of these things go beyond the 50% quota, which has been the reason for striking down Muslim reservation in the past. So the BJP and its alliance partners should clarify whether or not they're supporting the 50% quota that currently stands. The second thing they need to clarify is whether or not they want a caste census. So all of these questions can be addressed directly. And the third thing that must be addressed is that if these are demands coming from voters, should they not be discussed?
So, Susiben Shah, in the last dispensation, you brought Maratha quota. It went again to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court struck it down on that exact same rationale. You cannot breach the 50% cap.
Yes, but thereafter, the people of Maharashtra and India should know that our Chief Minister Eknath Rauji Shinde came up with a 10% quota. 10% quota for Marathas for education and in the government jobs, and which is still valid. And that is the reason that Manoj Jarange Patil gave support to the Mahayuti and the BJP. So let us understand. Congress had successive CMs who were Maratha. They completely failed and neglected ever to give Maratha reservation. And why it failed in Supreme Court? The reservation sought by, promulgated by the Devendra Fadnavis ji, it was held its ground in High Court. But because when it went to Supreme Court, the government had changed, and this Maha Aghadi did not have the requisite affidavit, the requisite numbers, the requisite details, so that the reservation fell through. So therefore, let us understand this. As far as Maratha reservation is concerned, the OBC reservation is concerned, the SC, ST reservation is concerned, the Mahayuti is 100% with them. The reservation stays. There is nothing.
Ajay Alok, the point that Mr. Gawande was also making, Gujars in some states are asking for backward class status. You have Jats in some states asking for backward class status. The Dhangars are asking for ST status. And these are promises that the BJP has also made to these respective vote banks in different states. Ajay Alok.
Yeah, you are right. There's a different state, there's a different problem altogether. And for every state, there's a commission, which actually goes and then it verifies the fact, and then they decide whether to put them in OBC category or whether to put them in SC category or SC category. And from time to time, we have seen that many communities have been lifted from OBC community and put up in SC community and SC community. There's a ways to do that. But it's not arbitrary. You cannot go arbitrarily about it, like what they did in Karnataka. Like just how you mentioned that they did it in Andhra, which was struck down by the Supreme Court. The same fate which is going to be met in Karnataka. Because in the name of reservation, they are taking reservation from Hindus and they are giving it to Muslims. This is bad. This is where we are posing. This is not a question of 50%. You are avoiding Hindus.
The Congress has been saying again and again, please show us one clip where Rahul Gandhi is saying we will take away this quota. The reason why we want to breach the 50% cap is to give reservation to Muslims.
See, what Rahul Gandhi is playing is just a fake narrative. That's what he has been doing.
Playing with fire.
Just before the Lok Sabha, he was just spreading this fake narrative. How will he breach? For breachment of 50%, you need to come in the parliament. You should have 2/3 of majority. What numbers he has? He's nothing but...
Ek hai to safe hai. He's saying ek hai. It refers to actually Prime Minister and Gautam Adani. You saw what he did in the press conference.
I saw that today. But what do you expect of Rahul Gandhi? Except of this Nautanki and below grey matter maturity? That's what Rahul Gandhi can do. I was surprised that he was not showing the pictures of Robert Vadra and Adani. That picture is also making waves now. And where is the picture with Mr. Ashok Gehlot, with Mr.
Absolutely
Revanth
childish
Reddy?
and immature.
with
So,
Siddharamaiah?
Javed, again, the point is Rahul Gandhi can go on and on attacking industrialists, attacking capitalists, so on and so forth. Point is that his same governments, Congress party governments, when Mr. Gehlot was chief minister in Rajasthan, when Mr. Reddy is chief minister now in Telangana, they have extended the red carpet to the same industrialists that Mr. Rahul Gandhi attacks day in and day out.
Including Sharad Pawar.
Let Mr. Ansari respond.
Zaka, both of us know that politicians cutting across who's adopt positions depending on where they stand. Having said that, Rahul Gandhi is also on record having said, I'm not against businessmen or industrialists, I'm against crony capitalism. The reason why he zeroes in on, or attacks only Adani is because he believes, it is his allegation, that Mr. Adani is the beneficiary of Mr. Modi's largesse because he's friends with Mr. Modi, and therefore he's being favored when it comes to contracts and etc., especially in areas where he has no expertise, previous expertise.
No, but this "ek rahenge, safe rahenge" is a political slogan. You attack it politically. What do you say to people who say that this is just drama? In the last press conference, on the last day of the campaigning, he takes out a safe and says, this is what ek hai to safe hai means.
He is probably, look, as far as this ek rahenge to safe rahenge, this is Mr. Modi is probably tried to put a spin on that because the earlier one was pretty vicious. You know, batoge to katoge and all that. You know what it stands for. So now Mr. Rahul is trying to counter it with his own take on the issue. How much of it will be a success, I don't know.
So,
but I mean, you know, you're not saying batoge to katoge.
I'll ask that to Susi Ben Shah because it's not just the Aghadi or the Congress or UBT that has had a problem with it. There are some people in the UT also who raise questions. Yeah, Javed, finish.
This business of batoge to katoge is not as benign and it's not a mere electoral slogan.
Okay.
Just delve into what it means.
So Susi Ben Shah, you know, Pankaja Munde from the BJP has said that this will not work in Maharashtra. Mr. Ajit Pawar, Deputy Chief Minister, has said this batoge katoge will not work in Maharashtra. What do you have to say to respond? You can accuse Rahul Gandhi of doing Nautanki, but your own leaders are shooting down your main campaign slogan.
No. What Rahul Gandhi did was absolutely childish and immature. That apart. Thoroughly, I mean, it's laughable, the kind of press conference that he had, but be as it may. The only thing that I would like to say as far as batoge to katoge is concerned, it was reference to Bangladesh as to the condition of Hindus there. It was specific reference to Bangladesh. Now, as far as batoge to katoge is concerned, you see our past history. There is witness of the history. Whenever we have been divided, we have faced the flag. We have been slaughtered in the religious communities. History is witness to it. But as far as saath rahenge, nek rahenge, and I'll tell you what is the genesis behind it. If you see in Lok Sabha, you yourself found out that there are particular community which voted for the Maha Vikas Aghadi, and that's how they got the result that they did. The difference in vote share is minuscule, point something. We have polled 2 lakh votes more than the Maha Vikas Aghadi. Let us understand that. So therefore, now is the time that it is a warning to all the OBCs, to all the STs, that if you don't stay together, to give an example, OBC, there are so many castes and subcastes. In ST scheduled tribes, there are so many castes and subcastes. If you don't all stay together as one, there is going to be a division.
No, but Susi Ben Shah, I said triple M factor. There are 3 M's. There's Maratha, Mahas and Muslims. It's not just single M factor.
Single M factor has worked. Zaka, single AM factor also works in more than 10 to 12 constituencies. To name a few, Amravati, Dhule, South Mumbai, Northeast Mumbai.
Okay.
It is the only single AM factor.
Ajay Alok. No, so the counter argument to that, Ajay Alok, the Congress and MVA is saying is, you are polarizing. The reason why Muslims are flocking up and voting en masse is because you are polarizing. The more you say batoge, katoge, they will naturally gravitate towards the MVA.
Yeah, I just don't understand why Javed sir does not understand this. That when in Lok Sabha, one community goes all out to vote against BJP, that becomes quite secular. when All India Muslim Personal Law Board gives a call, clarion call that Muslim unite and vote for MBA, it becomes quite secular. When ulemas of this country, whole Maharashtra, gives a call, go and vote for Maha Vikas Aghadi, it becomes very secular. But when Yogi Adityanath says, give a call that batoge bate hain to kate hain, or batoge to katoge, it becomes communal. Ek hai to safe hai, call given by the Prime Minister becomes communal. I don't understand. We are living in the majoritarian Hindu state. And we are secular only because we are Hindu. Had it been some other religion, either you would have to convert the religion or you would have been massacred, what we have seen in our neighboring countries. And this is the history of the world. So giving a call, ek hai to safe hai, ek hai to neke, is the right call at the right time. And it's not at all communal.
So, Javed, you know, isn't that a fair point that
remain united, there's nothing wrong
Ajay Alok has said that, you know, when Ulema Council, Muslim Personal Law Board issue letters of support, unsolicited letters of support to the MVA, that's somehow not communal, that is a secular act. But when the Prime Minister says, ek hai to safe hai, that's a communal act.
No, so who has said that it's not a communal act? I'm saying it on record. They have absolutely no right. It's condemnable. What have religious priests got to do? We are not deciding how, you know, I would probably seek their opinion on how to pray.
Can NCP condemn it right now?
As you condemned it.
NCP condemn it right now?
Mr. Gawande?
I've just condemned those 17 demands and told you that our party has never issued them. Do you want more condemnation? But let me tell you one very simple
the fact
thing.
that such letters are issued.
No. Let me frame this differently. No, I'm very sorry, but let me frame this differently. Neither Mr. Nomani nor the members making those 17 demands are card-carrying members of any of the Maha Vikas Aghadi's partners. But on the other side, the statements are coming from the Prime Minister of this country, from the Chief Minister of a state, and from the Deputy Chief Minister of the state, who is singing a song to the Jago Hindustan as his main campaign slogan. You know, the
award, all attended the meeting of ulama for everyone to see.
Across the state,
how can you refute that?
There is discontentment, there is agrarian distress, there's a law and order crisis. The BJP has no conviction in its development agenda, which is why it is trying to spread confusion. And this is all they have left to say. You know, I don't even want to dignify most of this with a response, because unfortunately, the standards of discourse have dropped to this level. I did not expect this.
The standards of discourse, responsibility lies only with BJP. When Congress president says...
Yes, because they are your MLAs. They're your MLAs, they're your MPs, they're your chief ministers, they're your deputy chief ministers.
When Kharge ji says that BJP are like snakes, jahan dekho kill them. That's a very good thing.
Nana Patole calls BJP a dog. I mean, let's not get there. But you see, Zaka, let us understand this. Our Mahayuti is only talking about development. No sooner the elections were announced, we went with our report card to the public, to all Maharashtra to see in the last 2.5 years what we've done. Our basic niti niyam of our governance is justice for all, appeasement to none.
No, but Suziben, Anish Gawande is saying that, you know, there is farmer distress, rising crimes against women. You have no answers for all this.
No, absolutely not. Tell me this, Zaka, this rhetoric, this has been going on for the last 50 years. It is the same unemployment. It is the same agrarian crisis. But it is this government who's given solutions, who have acted. You tell me, Zaka, you are a journalist of many, many years. You tell me if it's otherwise. Has not this been the agenda for all elections to come? For all elections to come. They are the only people who are blocking development. As far as Maharashtra is concerned, they are delaying development, whether it be Maharashtra, whether it be Mumbai, and selling false rumors about Adani and about our Dharavi project.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Now it's up to the voters of Maharashtra to decide which of these two narratives they're going to buy into and which of these two coalitions they believe is better equipped to lead the state over the next 5 years. Thank you very much to Ajay Alok, Anish Gawande, Javed Ansari, and of course Suziben Shah for joining us. From the financial capital, we'll shift focus to the political capital. And unfortunately, I wish I had better news for you at this time of the year, but unfortunately, it is the same story every year at this time. Delhi continues to be wrapped in a blanket of smog. The air quality is plummeted to a record low. The smog has intensified between yesterday and today, and that has left residents grappling. You've got choking air, almost this rancid smell and taste. and there is very limited visibility, which is, of course, leading to its own set of issues in terms of flight schedules going haywire and train schedules going haywire. Over this last week, the air quality has ranged from very poor to severe to today it was hazardous, which means you are literally living in a gas chamber. There's a study that's come out today which suggests that at the level of 700 plus or 800 plus, which many localities in Delhi today saw, the AQI, it is equal to smoking 40 cigarettes in a single day. So you can be a complete non-smoker all your life, but if you're living in Delhi, then you are consuming the equivalent of 40 cigarettes a day. That is how bad the air is. It started at 460 on the 14th of November, was last week. It dipped a little the next day, but since then, from the weekend onwards, it has just gone upwards, and today it reached the dangerous level of 999. In fact, AQI is not there beyond 1,000. The machines don't record beyond 1,000. It could be much worse, but like I said, the measurements currently are allowed only up to 999. There's vehicular emission, there's stubble burning in neighboring states, there is, of course, climatic conditions. All of this has combined into a deadly cocktail, a deathly cocktail, may I add. So what then is the solution? Because all we hear from our politicians is, oh, BJP needs to fix this, and from BJP you hear, oh, Aam Aadmi Party needs to fix this. At the end of the day, for the last decade almost, Delhiites have been living in this air emergency, and there frankly doesn't seem to be any respite in sight.
Delhi government has in fact gone ahead and implemented GRAP 4 measures out here in the national capital. Now, GRAP 4 is the highest measures that can be put in place, or the highest level of contingency plan that can be put in place from the side of the Delhi government.
शीर्ष अधिकारियों की बैठक बुलाई थी, लेकिन लापरवाही इतनी ज़्यादा है कि प्रदूषण का स्तर इतने खतरनाक लेवल पे पहुंचने के बाद भी कोई भी सीनियर अधिकारी मीटिंग में नहीं पहुंचा।
आपको समझना पड़ेगा कि दिल्ली से पोल्यूशन को हटाना है तो डस्ट कंट्रोल करनी पड़ेगी। पंजाब के पराली को रोकने के लिए आपको पंजाब सरकार से कहना पड़ेगा।
All right, straight face-off on the back half of Brass Tacks tonight. Ajay Alok, national spokesperson of the BJP, Siddharth Sharma, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. The matter went up to the Supreme Court today, Siddharth Sharma, and these are some of the questions that the Supreme Court raised. Why did we have to wait for the air quality index to cross above 300? The moment AQI reaches 300 to 400, that's when you invoke stage 4. How can you take such a huge risk and risk the lives of over 1 crore Delhiites by delaying the invoking of stage 4 until the AQI crosses 300 or 400? The court has a very valid question. Every year, you wait for the situation to get this bad, crosses 300, 400 AQI, and then you say GRAP 4. And for the rest of the year, you don't care about this issue.
Zaka, let's make one thing very clear. Right now, I might be sitting in your studios as an Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, but everyone knows that Aam Aadmi Party is just a decade-old party. I've been on this earth for longer than that, so I'm a citizen of India first. So the problem of pollution today is a pan-Indian problem. Pollution across India from Jammu to Bengal is a testament to BJP sleeping on the wheels of pollution. A classic case of thief crying, stop the thief. BJP first cuts, surprisingly, 1,100 trees in Delhi, sucks oxygen of 33,000 people, confirms it with an affidavit in the Supreme Court, and then cries pollution. It does not do anything to stop increasing stubble burning in either Madhya Pradesh or Haryana or Rajasthan or Uttar Pradesh, and yet sermonizes Punjab, which has reduced 80% farm fires.
No, sir, but the data proves otherwise. Over the last 3 days, Punjab fires have gone skyrocketing. November 15th, 238. November 16th, 136. November 17th, 404. And November 18th, over the last 24 hours, 1,251, which is the highest this season in Punjab. It's the highest for any state in this country.
I think, Zaka, there was a very great saint in India 1200 years ago called Adi Shankaracharya. He said that Pratyaksham Kim Pramanam. I'm right now showing on your television screens the farm fires across India on a map. I think the CNN News 18 viewers are wise enough to understand the map where the fires are from. That's why I clearly said that BJP is first cutting trees in Delhi, 1,100 trees. And it's not just I am saying BJP
No,
is
but what have you done, sir? Forget about what BJP is doing. What is Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi doing? What is Aam Aadmi Party government in Punjab doing? I just gave you 1,251 fires is the highest single day number of fires for any state in this country this season. What are you doing about it?
Yeah, if you would have let me complete, I would have in the latter part I would have also told you what Aam Aadmi Party government is doing.
Okay, you can say now.
Aam Aadmi Party, what Aam Aadmi Party government is doing is that it is plying thousands of electric vehicle buses in Delhi, which is reducing pollution. But surprisingly, not a single bus in either Noida or Faridabad or Ghaziabad is electric vehicle run. Isn't it surprising? Isn't it surprising that BJP's Pradhanji waxes eloquent about cutting down 1 billion tons of carbon when he goes to Glasgow for COP26, yet only Delhi helps him by cutting down 1 lakh tons of CO2 through its EV policy? And the biggest vindication today came for Aam Aadmi Party when the Supreme Court ordered the other NCR states like Rajasthan or Haryana or Uttar Pradesh, they also should implement the GRAP policy that has been initiated by Aam Aadmi Party.
Ajay Alok, I mean, nowhere is this more apparent than schools. Today, schools in Delhi were shut, but schools in Noida, Gurgaon, Faridabad were open. Why? The children of these satellite towns are any less than the children of Delhi?
See, the Delhiites for the last 10 years have been suffering at the hands of Aam Aadmi Party and their Arvind Kaptiwal, because everything they say is absolutely full of bunch of lies. It's not for the first time that Delhi is seeing this kind of a smog. We have been warning them for the last 4 months that this thing is going to come up in November, December. What you have done in Punjab. Now I'll show you what here. Today, Supreme Court on 16th October said stubble burning, and Supreme Court accuses Haryana and Punjab. What Haryana did? Haryana imposed a fine of almost 23 crores on the farmers, and a penal action, FIR, was lodged against them. And that's a deterrent action. What Punjab did? 1 crore rupee fine. No penal action, no FIR, nothing doing. This is the kind of the governance they have. And then they will start crying. ये smog आ गया जी, हम सांस नहीं ले सकते हैं जी. You remember Corona time? Oxygen खत्म हो गया जी, अगले 4 घंटे का oxygen होता है जी. Remember just 6 months back in July, what happened to the water when it started raining? People lost their lives. There were no drinking water in Delhi. For at least 25 days, we have seen their inefficiency. They don't know how to act. They don't have any governance model. Every model is failed. And then they'll cry that it's because of other states. You have to think what you have done.
But Ajay Alok, isn't this an entire northern India problem? It's affecting UP, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. Delhi is just one part of it. So shouldn't there be a national solution to this? The national solution can come only from the central government.
The national solution has to come from state and the central government both, and we have been working on that. Now look at the things which have been done by the central government. The ring road around Delhi, the eastern peripheral, the western peripheral roads around Delhi, that has reduced the air pollution by automobiles by almost 35%. It's on data. That is being done by the central government looking at the health of the Delhiites. Other things have to be taken measure of. Household industry which is being done by them. They keep on promoting chula and all everything to their Rohingyas and Bangladeshis who have made them settle there in different parts of Delhi. What the Aam Aadmi Party is doing about that? When we say industrialized area in Delhi has been banned, why local industry unit is operating from there? What the government is doing, Delhi government, sitting idle? They are not doing anything. Their officers, their MLAs, their corporators, everybody is involved in minting money, nothing else.
So, Siddharth Sharma, what are you, I mean, everybody, the CSC has been saying this for a number of years, that 50% of Delhi's pollution is because of vehicular pollution and construction dust. What are you doing about it? You have not encouraged people, private vehicle ownership, to move from these big diesel SUVs and, switch to electric cars. You've not incentivized that at all for Delhiites. Number two, about construction. You're not putting any kind of until GRAP 4 comes, and that's what the Supreme Court is saying. You're waiting for AQI to reach 400 to put a ban on construction.
I think, Zaka, I would not like to repeat myself. Delhi government has an electric vehicle policy. 13% of Delhi private vehicles are electric operated. How come these policies are not implemented in next door Noida or Ghaziabad? I'm not going to repeat that. For a second, if I agree to whatever the BJP spokesperson is blaming Aam Aadmi Party for, let us agree for a moment that Aam Aadmi Party is to blame. Then it begs the question, how come not just Delhi, from Rameshwaram to Rohtak, across India today, these are the 13 world's most polluted cities, out of which 12 are in India and only one is in Hungary. And CNN IBN's wise viewers can just type AQI India on their internet and find the exact results. I've just taken a screenshot from 5 to 7 minutes ago.
But Mr. Sharma, the fact that there are 12 cities and you rule only one of those 12 cities does not make life any better for the people who are living in that one city. You and I are living in that one city. We are having to breathe this toxic air. So you're still not giving a solution, either a solution or giving a record of what you have done. You've been in power since 2015, sir.
Zaka, you are
made fish smell. That's all not a problem.
Zaka, was the question to me or to Ajay bhai?
No. Both of you are responsible. In fact, Mr. Ajay Lok's party has been there in power at the center for the last 10 years now.
Okay, so
and they've also not come up with a comprehensive national plan. I'm asking you, Aam Aadmi Party, you're in power in Delhi since 2015. What have you done?
Yeah, I told you what I have done. It's like asking Virat Kohli, who has scored a century, and yet Team India losing the match, and not asking all the other batsmen like the captain. The captain of this team is Modi ji.
What analogy did you give? What sort of analogy is this?
Just a second.
I told you they'll come up with this.
Really, I mean, come on. This is the best example.
This is India's entire minister who has made 300 tweets. And not one tweet on the pollution. He has made 300 tweets. This is India's...
Ajay Alok ji, bataiye. Environment Minister is busy campaigning in Maharashtra. He hasn't even tweeted about pollution. Bataiye. And then I'll close after that. Yeah. Ajay Alok.
First of all, there is nothing to tweet about pollution. There's something to care about pollution, to think about pollution and to act for pollution. That's what our Environment Ministry is continuously doing. What Supreme Court of India is doing, and these people are actually shameless. Supreme Court has given them so many warnings, the Delhi government and Punjab government, but they never heed to it. And today the Supreme Court of 16th October clearly said why Punjab government is defiant, why it's not taking penal action, but no answer. And by the way, Uttar Pradesh has a EV policy. The electric vehicles are registered free of cost. They have a special policy for giving electricity for EV vehicle. So please check your facts before speaking anything.
Okay.
Go in Noida and you'll find out a lot of things.
We'll leave it at that.
We are not comparing the state government. It's a concern for the citizen you should have when you are ruling.
Unfortunately, it is the same story in the National Capital Region year after year. And unfortunately, no political party wants to be seen as doing anything about it, because at the end of the day, it's a middle class issue. Some debates will happen on TV, some front page headlines will come, and then after a week or two, once the air clears, once the climatic conditions improve or change, then everybody will get back to life as normal, and it's not an election determining issue. It's not an issue like free power or these free rave deals that keep coming up, or even an issue like reservation, which are fundamental to politicians, because they know that votes will get affected if those issues are touched upon. Whereas bad air, aerocalypse, air emergency in the national capital, it's a 1 week problem, it's a 2 week problem, and then people will move on. Anyway, I'm going to take a break here on the program. When we come back, US President-elect Donald Trump is pushing for peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. It seems to be finding growing acceptance in Europe, but now there is an added new complication, which is that the United States, in principle, seems to have agreed to sell long-range missiles to Ukraine, missiles which have the capability of hitting deep inside Russia. If that happens, would that be a direct war between Russia and NATO? Those details coming up on the other side.
Deal is locked, babe. I'll see you at the fest.
When you arrive in life, you deserve the best of a drive.
Presenting the dazzling new Desire, the best and beyond.
तुझे ऐसे कभी इमेजिन नहीं किया रे?
मैंने भी। आप कब बन रहे हैं मान्यवर?
विचार नए हैं तो अब नया विकास हो, पुरानी इस जमीन पे नया इतिहास हो। जरूरतें हैं पानी की जो दूर दूर तक, पियो ना ऊक से पियो जितनी भी प्यास हो। एक बार हमारा नाम लो तो एहसास हो, विचार नए हैं तो अब नया विकास हो। उन उंगलियों की खैर जो धागों को बुनती हो, फ्यूचर का ख्वाब देखो तो तकिए के पास हो। उड़कर चलो ना फ्लाईओवर से तो जानोगे हम कितना कुछ बनाते हैं विकास के लिए। उम्मीदें भर के देते हैं हर एक चीज में हम हैं ना, अगर आपकी उम्मीद खास हो। जुड़े हैं हम 140 करोड़ लोगों से, चारों ओर देखो तो एहसास हो। विचार नए हैं तो अब नया विकास हो। वेलस्पन वर्ल्ड।
जब हिंदुस्तान मिले हिंदुस्तान से,
Visit your nearest JK Tyre Steel Wheel store today.
The next Indian icons, beating everyone on the globe. A new perspective awaits. B6E and XEV9E. Mahindra's electric origin SUVs. Catch them at Unlimit India.
वो मिस्टर विकास की फाइल आप पॉलिसी बाजार। मैम, आपका हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस क्लेम अप्रूव हो गया है, अब आप सर को घर ले जा सकती हैं।
क्लेम के टाइम पे हमेशा आपकी हेल्प को तैयार। पॉलिसी बाजार, 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
Hello, I am R. Shankar Raman. In infrastructure, leadership means creating lasting value through strategic decisions. At the India Business Leader Awards, we honor those who turn vision into action. Together, let's celebrate the trailblazers who lead with purpose and act with conviction.
Presented by Standard Chartered in association with Reliance Industries Limited.
Wow, Vicky, exterior painting, हाँ, super bro. कौन सा पेंट?
नया बिरला ओपस।
अरे वो हर बार वाला लगाना था ना यार।
नया बिरला ओपस पेंट तो दीवारों को कड़ी धूप और धूल से सालों साल बचाता है।
डार्लिंग, हर बार वाला लगाना था, हर बार वाला।
वैसे ट्राई करने वाले 10 में से 9 पेंटर्स नया बिरला ओपस पेंट्स ही रेकमेंड करते हैं।
Doesn't matter, हर बार वाला लगाना था। Nonsense.
सर, नया बिरला ओपस पेंट्स देता है 16 साल तक की वारंटी। इनको जमाने से पीछे चलने दो, आप चुनो नया बिरला ओपस पेंट्स।
मजहब की बुनियाद पर मुल्क के 3 हिस्से करके हमें बहला रहे हैं।
मजहब में बांटना अंग्रेजों की राजनीति।
हमें एक इंडिपेंडेंट सॉवरेन पाकिस्तान चाहिए।
एक बार ये लकीर खींच गई, मिटाए नहीं मिटेगी।
Freedom at midnight, Sony Live पर।
हम रातों में सूरज।
अप्पा, नया घर कैसा लगा?
हर दिल को छू जाए ऐसी रोशनी लाते हैं फिलिप्स से, हम जिंदगी की रौनक बढ़ाते हैं।
Philips.
Ukrainian officials have said for months now that they would not be conceding any territory occupied by Russia for any peace settlement. Now, as Ukraine contemplates an accelerated timetable for negotiations,